Most people swear they'd never cross certain lines. They look at someone who broke trust and think, that could never be me. But the uncomfortable truth is that people don't violate boundaries for one reason. They do it for 5. And by the end of this, you'll understand which pattern is the real risk. Breaking trust isn't random. It follows patterns. Not excuses, patterns. Today we're breaking down the psychology behind those patterns so you can recognize the early signals before the damage is done. Listen closely. You might hear a piece of your story, or theirs. First up, the validation seeker. They look confident, they post the wins, they seem fine, but inside, the mirror is cracked. Validation seekers don't crave new connections. They crave a feeling, the feeling of being wanted and approved of. It feels harmless. I just need to feel wanted. A harmless compliment becomes a private conversation. That private conversation becomes a private emotional space they go back to. It's not about malice. It's about using outside attention to fill a void on the inside. Psychologically, this type relies on external worth. When self-value lives outside the self, any emotional dip at home feels like a drought. You might notice signs like constantly fishing for compliments, flirty behavior brushed off as just being friendly, needing a lot of reassurance after even a small disagreement. The solution here isn't to shame them. It's learning to build a sense of self-worth that isn't dependent on the latest like or comment. But not everyone drifts because they're empty. Some drift because they're afraid to face the truth. The escape artist. These are the people who will do almost anything to avoid a tough conversation or a messy ending. They avoid decisions. They avoid discomfort. So instead of having the hard conversation, I'm unhappy, I might want something else, they quietly detach. They'd rather let a relationship slowly fade than be that bad one who officially ends it. So they might start emotionally leaning on someone new, telling themselves, if this new connection feels right, maybe it's a sign I should leave. Psychologically, this is pure conflict avoidance. If confrontation feels like danger, a new emotional connection feels like an exit they didn't have to choose. They don't make a decision, they take a detour. Red flags here include chronic indecision about the future, shutting down or disappearing when things get serious, using phrases like, I didn't want this, it just happened. No, it didn't just happen. It replaced a boundary they were afraid to set. Others aren't avoiding pain, they're chasing stimulation. The sensation chaser. This isn't about being unhappy with their partner, it's about being bored with predictability. Same routines, same nights, same emotional tone, then something new appears. Unexpected, exciting, alive. It's not the person that attracts them, but the rush of novelty. For them, predictability feels like a cage. The thrill of something new, the secrecy, the risk, is a powerful high. Signals to watch for: escalating flirtatious situations for the thrill, brushing off concerns about consequences, labeling themselves as just impulsive, as if it's a fixed trait. But the high always fades, and when it does, they chase a bigger spark. New person, new secret, new cliff, until the fall. And then there's the type most people won't admit to, the revenge mirror. They were hurt, ignored, discounted, humiliated. They told themselves they were over it, but the ledger stayed open. Boundary breaking becomes balance. You made me feel this way, so now you can feel it too. If you ignored me, I'll show you what being ignored feels like. This isn't passion, it's arithmetic, a temporary feeling of power wrapped in long-term destruction. Psychologically, think retaliation and control, a way to reclaim power after feeling one down. You might see keeping score, revisiting old wounds during arguments, saying, it's fine, with a tone that feels like ice. But here's the hard truth. Revenge doesn't heal your pain. It just creates more of it for everyone. Which brings us to the most misunderstood type of all, the identity drifter. They didn't set out to break trust, but their life has changed. Maybe a new job, a new city, a new stage of life, and they feel out of sync with the person they used to be. Instead of having the brave, honest conversation with their partner, who am I becoming? Or what do I want now? They start secretly trying on new versions of themselves with other people. The person they were when the relationship began is not the person standing here now. Psychologically, this is self-concept confusion. When you're unsure who you are, you can get swept into whoever reflects a convincing version of you. Signs of this include Sudden, drastic changes in lifestyle or friend groups, seeming lost or confused about their own values, saying things like, "I just need to find myself again." But searching for yourself in the shadows often breaks the very trust you need to build a new, authentic life. Did you notice something about all these patterns? None of them blame the partner. A relationship might be going through a tough time, but stepping outside its boundaries is always an internal choice. It's a self problem that becomes an us problem. Leaving is hard. Healing a relationship is harder. But betraying trust is a choice made at the crossroads of our own fears, impulses, and stories. So, how can you spot the drift before it becomes real damage? Look for small secrets that start to pile up, shifting your boundaries depending on who you're with, justifying behavior with, "It's not a big deal," craving attention more than you crave honesty, and the classic, "I didn't want to hurt you," after doing the thing that hurts the most. If any of this sounds familiar, this is your moment to choose clarity over chaos. A little bit of self-awareness can go a long way. If you see the validation seeker in you, build your self-worth from within through hobbies, goals, and self-care. If you're the escape artist, practice having one difficult, honest conversation. That's real courage. If you're the sensation chaser, channel that energy into new, positive adventures that don't risk what you have. If you're the revenge mirror, allow yourself to grieve the hurt out loud. Let go of the scoreboard. And if you're the identity drifter, have the courage to tell the truth about who you're becoming, starting with yourself, then with your partner. Making a mistake doesn't mean you're a broken person. It often means there's a gap between the person you want to be and the actions you're taking. Your job is to close that gap, because if you don't, the fallout will affect the people you love the most. Which pattern do you see most around you? Validation, escape, sensation, revenge, or identity? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this brought clarity, give it a like so it reaches the people who need it most. We explore topics like this every week. Subscribe, and bring someone who needs truth more than comfort. I'll leave you with one final question, the one that can change everything. Are you building a relationship that survives in the light, or secrets that only survive in the dark? See you in the next video.